Want an edge for betting the Super Bowl? Click the link in the description to download VSiN's free betting guide.
As VSiN Super Week continues, this makes the entire football season for me and for us.
Wow.
The great Sal Paolantonio joins us in studio here on Super Bowl week. Look at this guy. Waking up at who knows what time to be here at 5:30 local time. Can't thank you enough. It's an absolute pleasure. How are you?
I wouldn't miss this for the world. You know, we've been talking all year long. You guys invited me here into the studio. And as you know, I had to get a permission to come in and because my schedule is dictated by the folks in Bristol. And I said, listen, this is something I really want to do. I want to be with Mitch and Paulie. I want to be at the VSiN studio. And I walk into this place, Circa. Unbelievable.
How about that?
Yeah. Stadium seating here at the sports book. Fabulous. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the best sports book in the world. You should, the stadium and swim area that they have outside is, I would actually say it's better than what the sports book looks like, in my opinion. It's my favorite spot in the whole city to watch games.
Well, thanks for inviting me. This is fantastic.
Yeah. What do you make of Las Vegas this week so far with the game actually being out here?
You know, I've been covering the Niners out of their hotel, so I've gone to a few shows at night, and the shows have been spectacular, and they're taking care of us really well at the Paris Hotel. You know, the strip has been great. Getting around has been good. Everything's been great. You know, I'm impressed with the airport, too. We were in and out of there with no problem.
They do it. They do
a good job.
Yeah, job well done.
They're moving people in and out of this place quick.
Now, how about this? We have like 300, I'm going to guess, like 320 days of sunshine right out here. It's been, today again, you wake up. It's raining cats and dogs the entire week. How about that?
But yesterday they were out on the field practicing at UNLV. The sun came out. I think they were really happy to get some sunshine and fresh air. So they caught a good day yesterday for their first day of practice, and it's supposed to clear up today. So I think they'll be all right. And the rest of the week supposed to be good for the game. So we'll be okay. We've had some bad weather. Hey, I went through the ice storm in Atlanta when the Rams played the Titans. I'll never forget that. City buses on their side on Peachtree Street. I mean, it was. So I've gone through some bad weather. Super Bowl, you'll get a little bad weather, but this hasn't been that bad.
How bad was Minnesota? Was it? It was Washington, Buffalo.
The only thing, no, Minnesota was Eagles and New England.
Oh, that one. Oh, that
was Super Bowl 52. The only thing I remember is Nicky Foles, Philly special, in the end zone, touchdown.
Yeah, there you go.
My favorite play in Super Bowl history. And I've had 31 straight Super Bowls. That's my favorite play.
You've covered that many games in a row.
I have 31. Covered them. Yep, I covered 2 for the Philadelphia Inquirer. And this is my 29th for ESPN.
Wow, now that's impressive. Do you remember what you did the last time you were not covering the game? Were you at home watching with a small party? Did you go to a big house party? What did you do?
You know, at that time, I was covering Philadelphia politics for the Philadelphia Inquirer. I was their national political reporter. And we had little kids, and I don't really remember following the game very much, except my wife, you know, she put out the big spread lasagna, and for around noon, and then the ravioli would come out around 4 o'clock. And, of course, you know, we had lots of party food, and, every Super Bowl Sunday, my wife takes care of us.
How was her lasagna? Top notch?
Top notch.
So we wanted to go take you to Capo's. The portion. It's down to local spot. It's so big, the lasagna they have. I go, this is right up Sal's.
You know what happens when we get the invitation and it doesn't actually happen, right? You know what happens, right? No, I may go tomorrow night. How about that? Yeah. The food has been great here. Everything's been great. The Paris Hotel has been treating us like royalty.
Well, so you've been around the team, and we see all the you're doing a great job on ESPN. How big is the deal with the field? And a practice field in UNLV.
They are downplaying it, but yesterday they didn't really have a full-fledged practice. They were running around. It wasn't an aggressive, full-fledged practice where, you're running plays and not thinking about how lightly you are stepping. So I think the cutting and moving today is the most aggressive practice that they will have in Super Bowl week. Kyle Shanahan said it is what it is. It's not perfect, but we're practicing on it. That's a tepid endorsement, in my view, of the practice field. You have grass laid over field turf. It's clearly softer than it normally would be because it's laid over that field turf. You don't have the usual sand and gravel underneath a regular surface, a field grass surface. So it's a little bit soft is what they're saying, but they're getting through it. But today's the day I want to hear from players about how the turf responded to them cutting and whether or not they had to change shoes. You know, it was such a big deal in the Super Bowl last year. Huge.
Yes.
It was a big part of the fact that the Eagles could not rush Patrick Mahomes the way they wanted to.
Okay, so is that going to be an issue, you think, again this year? I mean, again, it should never be an issue in the Super Bowl. What did Las Vegas learn from last year when the game was in Arizona? And then is there anything that a team can do to adjust to that? Like with the Chiefs' history here last year playing on that turf and it wasn't great. Like what can they do to get ready for it in case it's the same way? And then it's not the same thing because it was a rainy outdoor situation, but the Niners had the cleat problems against the Packers a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, the one advantage the Chiefs have, I know their equipment staff and their health staff and their training staff, it's top-notch. And the Niners have to learn from what happened against Green Bay. The turf is a big thing. Listen, you know, if you're slipping and sliding, you can't get to Patrick Mahomes. That, you know, exponentially increases your ability to escape the rush because, you know, Patrick Mahomes is super elusive. He's great off script. So that's a big issue for sure. And something we will specifically watch pregame.
You think if that does happen again?
Jalen Hurts had to change cleats. When was the last time we saw a quarterback change cleats in the middle of a Super Bowl?
Great question.
Yeah.
Has it ever happened before?
I don't know. I've covered 31 of them. Yeah. I never seen it before.
Okay. So if that scenario does happen, then don't you think that opens up Mahomes to go over his rushing attempts, which is 4.5, and then I know people have made a big deal about his longest rush attempt at 13.5 and his overall rushing yards for the game?
No, I don't think so. I think the Niners, Steve Wilks, I think will be specifically prepared to spy Mahomes in a way that the Eagles were not able to do. I mean, I think in this particular game, they learned a lot from the last couple of games where Mahomes went off. Same thing with Brock Purdy. You know, you look at that Detroit tape. Anzalone was 25 yards off the ball. And by the time he tried to close, he had a bad angle on Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy was able to rip off a couple of key third down runs for first downs, especially in the fourth quarter. I don't think he'll be able to do that against Kansas City because you saw what Steve Spagnuolo did against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. He did a stack spy system. They didn't have Gay in the game, but they used a linebacker and then Justin Reed to spy on Lamar Jackson, and I think they'll do the same thing on Brock Purdy. I'm not bullish at all on rushing yards for the quarterbacks in this game at all.
Okay, all right. Are you bullish on the two running backs, though, because you can run on both defenses?
Totally.
I'm
bullish on the running backs, 100%. And the number one thing for the Niners to watch is this. They led the NFL in yardage on first down. They were number one. And on first down, Christian McCaffrey led the National Football League with 77 yards per game on first down. On first down.
Huge.
Yeah, that is. He's the head of the snake. They really run everything through Christian McCaffrey. They want to get big positive yardage on first down. They will run outside the tackles with Christian McCaffrey for sure. So that's McCaffrey. Isaiah Pacheco, to me, he's the key to that game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Absolutely. Him and Travis Kelce. You know, you got three guys on the Chiefs that you have to double team, in my view. Kelce, Chris Jones, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Pacheco, I would totally agree with that. And again, we tried to bring this up the entire week and going back to last week as well and throughout the playoffs, to be quite honest. I think the reason why teams were not running on the 49ers all year long is because the Niners offense was absolutely elite and they get out to these big leads, which means the opposition is going to abandon the running game trying to get back into it by throwing the ball. But if teams can get out on the Niners with a lead, you can run on them and keep the ball. And Pacheco, I think, is the total key here.
There's no question about that. But I think overall, Kansas City offense, it's Kelce. So in the playoffs, right, he's been targeted 27 times and caught 23 balls. I mean, that's an incredible percentage. If we went out into the sports book here right now at Circa and started throwing the football around, I don't think you could hit me 23 out of 27. I got good hands, but, you know, you know, that's a high percentage, 23 out of 27. So I think in this game, Kelsey is huge, and you look at his matchup, and the game is about matchups, against Dre Greenlaw. Greenlaw is a very good cover guy, but I think Kelsey is just too shifty and quick and finds the open spaces. I think Kelsey is the key.
We'll continue here with VSiN Super Week. The great Sal Paolantonio, ESPN, is in studio with us here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We will get his pick then to win the game, and it sounds to me like he might have an intriguing pick for MVP as well. We'll ask him about it coming up here on the Vegas Stats and Information Network.
Yes.
We continue here with the great Sal Paolantonio. Who's your pick in the big game on Sunday, Sal?
I like the Chiefs. I think it's very, very hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes. They just have too many players on that team that you have to double team. And when you are accounting for Pacheco and when you're accounting for Travis Kelce, that just leaves Patrick Mahomes to maneuver off script all the time. We see it all the time. He's so tough, so elusive, because it's hard to blitz him. If you blitz him, you're leaving guys open. You're leaving lanes open. You're attacking Patrick Mahomes. You're leaving his options open. I think it's so hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes. I like the Chiefs to win 30-20.
Okay, so who's your sneaky pick to win the MVP then?
I think it goes back to, again, 23 out of 27 catches in the postseason for Travis Kelce, the tight ends. I think he has a chance to be, and don't forget, how much is the percentage of the vote a popular vote? How much is that percentage?
20%.
All right, listen, come on. What have we been talking about all year long? Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. If he has a good game, I could see Travis Kelce being the odds-on MVP for this football game if the Chiefs win.
I predict because of that angle, it's going to be the most watched Super Bowl of all time.
Without that out. Most bet-on Super Bowl of all time,
Yeah.
most watched Super Bowl of all time. I think without a doubt. There's a reason why you're getting these exponential ratings in the NFL because people have skin in the game. They got action on the game more than they've ever had. One. And two.
Well said.
Two, the ancillary. Listen, I've got 3 daughters. I've got 4 granddaughters. They're at the football now because of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing. She has brought fans to the game and to sports who have not been involved before.
Yep. Ask me the question, say it on air now, what you asked me during the break. Who's under the most pressure for San Francisco? I say
No,
Purdy.
who's under the most pressure in the football game in Super Bowl 58?
Purdy.
Oh, it's definitely Kyle Shanahan.
How
There's
can
no
you say-
question about that.
No lasagna for you.
Kyle
No way.
Shanahan has lost out on 2 Super Bowls that he should have won. He was up 20-10 with 6 minutes to go 4 years ago, and they lost the game. He was up 28-3. It became a bumper sticker in New England, 28-3. Okay, and he's been asked all week at the hotel how much that has hurt him and stung. How much did he learn from it? How much does he want to right the ship? He's under a lot of pressure. There was a guy that I covered in Tampa who was a great coach who went to the Hall of Fame, and Tony Dungy. He could not get it done. They brought in John Gruden with those players in Tampa, and they finally got over the hump. So Kyle Shanahan is under a lot of – I realize that they recently – extended his contract, but that doesn't mean anything in the NFL. And it depends on what happens in this game. I mean, we're talking about legacy country for this guy, I think. Under a lot of pressure.
If Purdy implodes,
But
he's fighting for his job next year.
Yeah, but Purdy's, in his second year, I think Purdy's playing with house money. If I was Brock Purdy, the one thing that I saw against Detroit in the first half, he left throws on the field. He was holding the ball too long. Players were open. Let it loose. Turn it loose. Pull the trigger. If he does that, he's going to have a good game.
Okay, so then more likely to happen, he has a really good game, let's say 280 and a couple of touchdowns, Niners win, or he implodes like Christmas night.
Oh, no, I think he's going to have a good game.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Right.
I do.
Okay.
I think he's going to have a good game.
Why don't you like my pick? Fourth quarter, lowest scoring quarter.
Because last year in the Super, the game is so long. And last year in the Super Bowl, what do we see from Patrick Mahomes? 15 first downs in the second half, fourth quarter scoring. Here, to me, the number one factor in this game of whether the Niners can actually pull off a win in this game is is defensive line rotation and stamina late in the game. You have that long halftime. It's always true in the Super Bowl, but it's true in this game because of the second reaction plays of Patrick Mahomes. Steve Wilks, a defensive coordinator, up against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's the matchup to watch. How is he rotating the defensive line? What did they talk about in Santa Clara all week long? Pursuit and effort. Those were the buzzwords coming out of Santa Clara. We didn't have it in Detroit. They have to have it against Patrick Mahomes, especially in the fourth quarter. And I think that'll be key. I like them scoring points in the fourth quarter.
Someone score 40 points, 7-1.
No.
Okay. First drive of the game, 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Over.
Longest drive, 77.5 yards.
That's a tough one. 77.5 yards is most long drives are about 75 yards for obvious reasons, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 1st and 10 on the 25. I'm going to say under.
Okay. Well, an offensive lineman catch a pass, 35-1.
No.
All right, that's a long shot. Will there be a lead change in the fourth quarter?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's plus money. Lead change in the last minute, 7-1, by the way. Will both teams score in every quarter?
Yes.
6-1. Will there be a kickoff out of bounds? 9-1.
John Casey?
John Casey?
Yeah. No.
No? Okay.
Both these kickers are good, accurate.
Oh, Moody. You can't say that about Moody.
Well, okay.
Okay. Opening kickoff to be a touchback.
Yes.
All right. You don't think someone goes rogue and brings it out? Tough guy, adrenaline?
I think both of these special teams coaches have control of their players.
Okay. Well said. Well said. Well, in light of what happened with Lamar Jackson, will a quarterback complete a pass to himself?
No.
75-1.
Okay. All right. Will a kicker or punter make a solo tackle? 7-1.
Wow. I don't like that one.
Okay. Well, we have a record. But you like these kickers. Will someone make a 55-yard field goal or longer?
No.
All right. Will a quarterback have a 25-yard rush?
Yes.
That will
6-1. Mahomes? Okay. Or even Purdy? Okay.
There's always one. There's always one.
Yeah.
And the big thing, as I've talked about, in the Super Bowl always, but especially in this game, defensive line rotation and stamina. So, a quarterback escapes. Linebackers have been huffing and puffing all game. You're going to get a long run. You're not going to get a lot of them, but you're going to get one.
Okay, you made the case for Kelce, and why not? I mean, he's the go-to guy, the bread and butter with Mahomes. On the flip side, again, the assumption here is that McCaffrey's going to be able to run the ball with the Chiefs.
McCaffrey's the MVP if the Niners win.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I do.
Yep.
Who else can have a big game? Who like the matchup-wise, breaking this down, is it Kittle? Is it Debo? Who can exploit that KC defense?
I would think it's Kittle for sure. Spagnuolo's defense is blitz the quarterback, play man. They have two great corners. They have the two best corners in the game, I think, Kansas City. They're very good cover corners. They're tough. They're sticky. I don't like the wide receiver play at all for the Niners in this game.
In this game, you don't at all?
I don't. I like Kittle. I like McCaffrey. And the other thing is they got to hold on to the football. That's the key. I mean, Debo, for sure, swing passes here and there, yards after the catch, that'll be key. I don't see big plays at all. We didn't see it very much. We saw one big play with Zay Flowers in the AFC Championship game, and it was nullified by that stupid taunting. So that was the one thing that I will watch for in this game. First of all, you got a referee that likes to keep the flag in his pocket.
Yep.
Right?
Great call. Yep.
Yep. And the other thing is, these two teams are extremely well coached and disciplined, mature and experienced. So there won't be any silly penalties like taunting from a wide receiver after a big play. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. And you're going to see special teams under control for sure. So they're well coached in the fundamental alignment and assignment football because of the coaching staffs and the maturity, especially for the 49ers.
Yeah. You go back and look at the game logs pretty much all year long, opposing quarterbacks, wide receivers against the Chiefs. They do shut down a lot of really good teams. Allen and the Bills could not do anything in the air, but they could run all day.
Yeah.
That's why the Ravens' game plan was so mystifying last week, and you watch the game up close and personal.
Yeah, 82% of dropbacks, most in Lamar Jackson's career. And what did John Harbaugh say after the game in his post-game press conference a couple days later? He said, we're going to give Lamar Jackson more control over the offense. Well, You should have done that on Championship Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, they had that game. That game was available to them. Yeah. That game was available to them.
Agreed.
Fascinating, intriguing Super Bowl. Yeah. Absolutely.
30 seconds. The bet for your favorite Super Bowl over the years.
Has to be Super Bowl 52. You know, when the Eagles won against the Patriots. You know, I've lived in the Philadelphia area for 40 years. The guy who cuts my hair, mows my lawn, delivers my mail. So many years of anger and disappointment. Nick Foles catching that football on Philly Special. Greatest play in Super Bowl history, in my view, for my money.
Can't thank you enough,
What a
Sal.
thrill.
Thank you so much.
Oh, man, this has been great. Thank you for having me here.
Enjoy the game. Enjoy Las Vegas.
Fantastic.
Mike Palm in studio up next.
Want an edge for betting the Super Bowl? Click the link in the description to download VSiN's free betting guide.